What do we got to do first for this warm-up problem? Caleb, Berkey.
I don't know. Make it equal signs. So you
Yeah.
can eliminate the inequality.
All right. William, we're trying to work here. All right, but before I can get started, I have to have what?
Oh, I have no idea.
AJ? Collins?
You gotta move it over.
Yeah, so it's what's on the right? 0, right? We got to get 0 on the right.
Oh.
So we're going to have to add. We're going to have to add 13x first. So it looks like this. And remember, the 13x would be in the middle. All right? So just like normal quadratic equations, we have to set it equal to 0 when it's a quadratic inequality with one variable like this. We want it greater than or less, whatever the inequality is, but we want it 0. Okay? Now, there's two ways that we've been doing these. We've been factoring them, which you can do, or you can do the quadratic formula. Most of you don't like when A is not 1, right? It takes you a little more work. So I would probably, if A is not 1, I would probably use the quadratic formula. So let's do that. So x equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4 times a times c over 2 times a. We should know that. Okay? Right, Vince? You know that, right?
I got there.
Good.
As far as I got. Well, I solved it, but yeah, I got your money.
So we got a negative 13 plus or minus. We got an 8 in the bottom. And then we do what's inside the parentheses. Not the parentheses, but the radical. We call that the, I just had a loss of memory there. Discriminant. That's what we call that part underneath the radical, the discriminant. So 13 squared was 169. Negative 4 times 4 is a negative 16 times 3 is a negative 48. So that gives you 121. That's a nice number because that's a perfect square, right? So this is negative 13 plus or minus 11 over 8. So there's two problems there. All right. Negative 13 plus 11, which is negative 2, which is negative 1/4. Negative 2 over 8 reduces to negative 1/4. And then negative 13 minus 11, which is negative 24, divided by 8, is negative 3. Okay? So, what do we do next? This isn't finished. We have to draw a graph, right? What kind of graph?
The line.
Yeah, a number line graph. All right, so negative 3 would be further left than negative 1/4, right? So we're going to pick a number left of that, a number between those, and a number right of that. Okay? So remember, those are called the critical values. That negative 1/4 and that negative 3 are the critical values of this inequality. It splits your number line into 3 sections. We're going to check each of those numbers. If negative 4 works, I'm going to draw an arrow towards that negative 4. Okay? If negative 1 works, I'm going to draw a line connecting the negative 3 and the negative 1/4. If 0 works, I'm going to draw an arrow towards that. Okay? And we always plug into the original problem. All right, now, before I do that, do I put circles, open circles, or solid dots at those two numbers? circles, because it's not equal to, all right? When the equal to is not under there, they're open. All right, so just go to the original problem, even before you got greater than 0, you can just put it in the first one. So a -4, I guess I'll just do it underneath here. See if I can, this move down for me? Yeah, we'll put it underneath so we can see it. Okay, so for the first one, the -4, I'm going to put -4 in for x. -13. All right, so I'm going to see if that's a true statement. So -4 when I square it is 16 times 4 is 64 plus 3 is 67. -13 times -4 is a positive, what is that, 52? Is that true? Yeah, that's true, right? So I'm going to draw an arrow towards the -4. Okay? Then I'm going to plug the -1. So -13 times -1 is positive 13. -1 squared is a positive 1 times 4 is 4 plus 3 is 7. Is that a true statement? 7 is not bigger than 13, is it? So I would not connect the two circles. All right? Then I'm going to put 0 in. So 0 squared is 0 times 4 is 0 plus 3 is 3. -13 times 0 is 0. Is 3 bigger than 0? Yes, right? So I draw an arrow towards the 0. So there's what my graph looks like. So to get full credit on that problem, on our quiz Wednesday, you have to give me the critical values and graph on the number line graph, okay? What do you mean a number? Between the two numbers? No, you don't have to. Just the two numbers you got is fine. It's not wrong if you do those. Any other questions on the warm-up? Okay, let's go over the homework. What do you got to do with number 27 first?
You need to,
Subtract the 25, right?
yeah.
All right. Now I would factor that because I recognize it's both perfect squares and a minus between. So that's a difference of squares. So it's 2x minus 5 and 2x plus 5. Square root of both, one's plus, one's minus. Okay. When you set 2x minus 5 equal to 0, you're going to add 5 and divide by 2. So that's positive 5/2. When you set 2x plus 5 equal to 0, you're going to subtract 5 and divide by 2. That's 2.5 and -2.5. And then we put those in, we pick numbers to do our number line. Does anybody need me to do the rest of that? Okay. Number 29, you're going to add 28. Oops, 11x plus 28. Greater than or equal to 0. And there are factors of -28. -7 times -4 is positive 28 that add up to -11. So I would have factored that quickly. So my two critical values are 7 and 4. And then again on my graph, you got 4 here, 7 here, and they'd be solid dots. Why? Greater than or equal to, right? And then I would plug in, I'd probably plug in 5 here, 8 here, and 0 here. Whenever I can use 0, I would use 0. Okay? If I plug 0 in, the original problem, I get 0 is bigger than negative 28. Does that work? Yeah. So it would be this way. If I put 5 in, I got 25 minus 55 is a negative 30. Is that bigger than negative 28? That's smaller, right? Negative 30 is smaller than negative 28, right? So that wouldn't work. So I bet 8 works. You get 8 squared, 64 minus 88 would be a negative 24. And that is bigger than negative 28. So that one would look like that. Okay? Probably 31 and 33, I would use the quadratic formula because no 1 for the A. But I'd have to subtract 4 here on 33. Make sure you do that. Okay? I'd probably use the quadratic formula for those two. Does anybody need me to go over those two? So we're okay with how to do these now? All right, so this was Friday's. So we finished section 3, 5, and 6. Okay. So we've done, graphing and shading, right? The inequalities. When we do it 2 variables, we did a system as well, where we had to put 2 graphs on one XY axis and see where the 2 overlap. Okay? So it's not a very long quiz. It's only 4 problems. The first problem is that substitution method. That's worth 5, and the second, third, and fourth are worth 10 apiece because they're the graphing and stuff. What we've been doing.
Is there anything new being added to it, or is it just what we've already done?
It's what we've already done.
So just reviewing
Okay.
it, you know?
So we're reviewing today. I'm giving you a practice quiz. We'll go over it tomorrow, and the quiz will be Wednesday. And then we'll start reviewing for exam on Thursday.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.